It is January. The wind outside feels like knives. Your heater kicks on again and again. And somewhere in America, a smart meter quietly ticks upward. Now imagine opening your next utility bill. $600, $700. For heat, that is not a horror story. For millions of Americans, that is winter reality. Energy prices have been unpredictable. Natural gas costs spike. Electricity demand surges, and suddenly, staying warm becomes one of the most expensive parts of daily life. But here is the strange part. In many homes across the United States, people are paying far more than they actually need to. Not because energy is always expensive, but because most homes are quietly leaking money. Through walls, through windows, through old systems, through habits nobody ever questions. In this video, we are going to break down exactly why winter heating bills in America have become such a financial shock, and more importantly, how Americans can realistically reduce them. Some of these methods cost nothing, some use simple technology, and some could save you hundreds of dollars every single winter. Let's start with why this problem is suddenly everywhere. Over the last few years, heating costs across the United States have become a major concern. Part of this comes down to energy markets. The U.S. still relies heavily on natural gas for heating. Millions of homes from the Midwest to the Northeast use gas furnaces. When gas prices move, heating bills move with them. But that is only part of the story. Another reason is the aging American housing system. The average U.S. home is more than 40 years old. Many were built long before modern energy efficiency standards existed. Insulation was weaker. Windows were thinner. Heating systems were simpler. Back then, energy was cheaper. Efficiency was not the top priority. Today, those same homes are still standing, but they are bleeding heat every winter. The Department of Energy estimates that up to 30% of heating energy in a typical home can disappear through air leaks and poor insulation. That means if you are paying $500 to heat your home this winter, around $150 of that could literally be escaping through tiny cracks. Invisible, constant, expensive. And that is why heating bills have become such a hot topic across American households. Because it is not just about energy prices anymore. It is about wasted energy. To understand how to save money, we first need to understand how heating actually works inside a typical American home. When your thermostat drops below a certain temperature, your heating system turns on. In many homes, that system is a gas furnace. The furnace burns natural gas, creating heat. A blower fan pushes that heat through air ducts. Warm air travels through vents and spreads across your house. Sounds simple. But here is the catch. The heat does not stay where you want it. Heat naturally moves toward cold areas. That means warm air inside your house is constantly trying to escape to the colder outdoors. It leaks through windows. It seeps through doors. It travels through poorly insulated walls and attics, and sometimes it even escapes through ductwork hidden in basements or crawl spaces. This means your furnace has to keep turning on again and again to replace lost heat. More cycles, more energy, more money. But here is where things start getting interesting, because not all heat loss is obvious. Some of the biggest energy drains in American homes are things most people never think about. For example, the attic. In winter, warm air rises. That warm air presses against the ceiling and eventually escapes through the roof if insulation is weak. In some homes, this single issue can account for a quarter of total heat loss. Then, there are windows. Older single-pane windows are essentially giant cold spots. Heat moves through them easily. Even double-pane windows can lose significant heat if the seals have weakened over time. And then there are air leaks. Tiny gaps around electrical outlets, door frames, or pipe openings may seem harmless. But together, they can equal a hole the size of a basketball in your wall. That is the equivalent of leaving a window slightly open all winter. But here is where it gets serious. Even if your house is well insulated, your heating system itself could still be wasting money. Many American homes still use furnaces that are 15 or 20 years old. Older furnaces can operate at 60 to 70% efficiency. Modern high-efficiency furnaces can reach 90% or higher. That difference translates directly into dollars. But replacing a furnace is expensive, and not every household wants to spend thousands of dollars up front. Which brings us to the strategies people are increasingly using to cut winter heating bills without major renovations. Let's start with one of the most powerful tools available today: smart thermostats. Devices like these quietly changed how millions of American homes manage heating. Traditional thermostats keep your home at a constant temperature all day, even when nobody is home. A smart thermostat learns your schedule. If everyone leaves for work at 8 in the morning, the thermostat automatically lowers the heat. When you return in the evening, it warms the house again. This simple adjustment can reduce heating usage by 10 to 15%. For a household paying $2,000 annually for heating, that is hundreds of dollars saved. And here is the part nobody talks about. Even if you do not own a smart thermostat, you can still replicate most of the savings manually. Lower your thermostat by 7 to 10 degrees while you sleep or when you are away. That single habit alone can cut heating costs significantly. But temperature control is only the beginning. One of the fastest growing trends in American homes is something surprisingly simple: ceiling air leaks. Homeowners are discovering that small fixes can deliver big savings: weather stripping around doors, foam sealant around pipes, door draft blockers, window insulation film. These materials are inexpensive and easy to install, yet they can dramatically reduce heat loss, and the results are immediate. People often report that rooms feel warmer even though the thermostat has not changed. But here is where things get even more interesting, because the biggest energy leak in many homes is not windows or doors, it is ductwork. Duct systems run through attics, basements, and crawl spaces. If those ducts have gaps or loose joints, heated air escapes before it even reaches the room. In some homes, up to 20% of heated air disappears inside the walls. Sealing ducts with proper tape or mastic can drastically improve efficiency. But here is another hidden factor affecting heating bills across America: ceiling fans. Most people think of ceiling fans as summer cooling devices, but in winter, they can actually help distribute heat. Remember how warm air rises? Ceiling fans on a low reverse setting push that warm air back down into the room. This reduces the workload on your heating system. And yes, it works, but this is also where opinions start to split. Some people argue that the real solution to high heating bills is electrification: heat pumps. Unlike traditional furnaces that burn fuel, heat pumps move heat using electricity. Modern heat pumps can operate even in colder climates and deliver impressive efficiency. For many households, switching to a heat pump could reduce heating costs dramatically, but others point out that installation costs remain high and electricity prices vary widely across the country, which means the economics are not always simple. And this brings us to the broader debate happening across the United States right now. How should Americans heat their homes in the future? On one side, efficiency advocates argue that better insulation, modern systems, and smart controls can dramatically cut national energy use. On the other side, some homeowners worry about upfront costs, technology reliability, and government incentives that may or may not last. And this debate is only getting louder as winters become more unpredictable. But let's step back and look at the advantages and disadvantages of the main heating strategies available today. When homes become more energy efficient, the benefits are obvious: lower monthly bills, more comfortable indoor temperatures, less strain on heating systems. Energy efficiency can also increase property value. Buyers increasingly look for homes with lower operating costs. But efficiency upgrades are not always cheap. Insulation upgrades can cost thousands of dollars. New windows can cost tens of thousands. Heat pump installations can reach significant price levels depending on the home size. That means homeowners must balance upfront investment with long-term savings, and public opinion is split. Some Americans believe efficiency upgrades are one of the smartest investments a homeowner can make. Others argue that energy prices change so frequently that predicting savings is difficult. But here is the fascinating part: many of the most effective money-saving changes cost very little. They are simply overlooked, which raises an important question. What will winter heating look like in the United States 10 or 20 years from now? By 2030, experts expect several trends to reshape how Americans heat their homes. Smart home systems will become far more common. Thermostats will communicate with weather forecasts, energy grids, and electricity pricing systems. Homes may automatically adjust heating when energy demand spikes across the region. Electric heat pumps will likely continue expanding into colder states as technology improves. And insulation standards for new homes will continue getting stricter, but older homes will still dominate the housing market, which means energy efficiency upgrades will remain one of the biggest opportunities for saving money. And that brings us to the practical question. What should Americans actually do right now? If you are a student living in an apartment, start with small habits. Lower the thermostat slightly at night. Seal drafty windows with temporary insulation film. Use thick curtains to reduce heat loss. If you are a working professional or homeowner, check your attic insulation and seal obvious air leaks. Install a programmable or smart thermostat if possible. Schedule furnace maintenance to keep the system running efficiently. And if you run a business or manage rental properties, energy efficiency upgrades can reduce long-term operating costs while making buildings more attractive to tenants. Because here is the truth. Winter heating bills will always exist, but uncontrolled heating bills do not have to. In many cases, the difference between a painful energy bill and a manageable one comes down to awareness, understanding where heat escapes, understanding how systems operate, and making a few strategic changes. Because warmth should never feel like a luxury. It should feel like home. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you subscribe to Tech Vibes for more deep dives into the technology shaping everyday life. And I want to hear from you. How high did your heating bill get last winter? And what tricks have you discovered to bring it down? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Your idea might help someone else stay warm this winter without draining their wallet.